The Hibagon, sometimes referred to as the Japanese Bigfoot, is a mysterious creature purported to inhabit the forested areas of Hiroshima Prefecture in Japan. The name Hibagon derives from Hiba, referring to the Hiba Mountains in Hiroshima, and gon, a suffix often used in Japanese to denote something akin to thing or creature. Reports and sightings of the Hibagon began to emerge in the early 1970s, with the creature being described as ape-like, covered in black or brown hair, standing approximately 1.5 meters tall, about 5 feet, and possessing a distinctively human-like face with prominent, intelligent eyes. Unlike the North American Bigfoot or the Himalayan Yeti, the Hibagon is often described as having a less intimidating presence, though still shy and elusive, avoiding human contact. Sightings were particularly concentrated around the area of Mount Hiba in Hiroshima Prefecture, a region known for its dense forests and rugged terrain, which could potentially support such an undiscovered species. The Hibagon was reported to be seen by locals and tourists alike, with some accounts suggesting it exhibited curious behavior, observing humans from a distance before disappearing into the forest. Despite numerous sightings and reports, concrete evidence of the Hibagon's existence, such as clear photographs, physical remains, or definitive biological samples, has not been found. Skeptics argue that the sightings could be misidentifications of wildlife, such as bears or wild boars, which are common in the region. Others suggest that the Hibagon might be a surviving population of an extinct primate or a yet-to-be-discovered species. The Hibagon holds a place in Japanese folklore and cryptozoology, similar to other legendary creatures worldwide. It has become part of local culture and tourism, with statues and memorabilia celebrating the elusive creature. Despite the lack of hard evidence, the mystery of the Hibagon continues to fascinate and attract the interest of both locals and cryptid enthusiasts from around the world.
How y'all doing? This is your boy. As you can see, I have shaved and kind of had a double chin. I had it in the beard's place, but anyway, I'll pass that. So this one is going to be obviously about the Hibagon. And yeah, it's not pronounced that way. It's called the Hibagon. Hiba, of course, as was already said, means the area, the province, prefecture, whatever you want to call it, of the mountain range that is around the, how can I say this, around the Hiroshima area, or close by to it. You notice in Japan, a lot of these cities or towns that they have are based around mountains. Something to kind of take into consideration, in case you ain't figured out. They have quite a few mountains over there in that country. Now, you're probably wondering what made me decide to cover this. Well, you guys already know I love Bigfoot. For one, this was something I'm surprised. As much as I love to talk about and read about Japanese stuff, this kind of caught me a little off guard. Excuse me. So, I'm going to get to the point. You're probably wondering what makes this thing so different than regular Bigfoot or Yeti or any of those things. Not much, really. The only real difference is, from what I've noticed, is its size. I've also noticed that there weren't too many sightings until the 70s. You have to think about this. After World War II, several things happened. Of course, you already know Hiroshima was one of the cities that there was a bomb dropped on. But I don't think that had much to do with this. I think it had to do with more what come after. Everywhere after World War II, or even in Japan, maybe especially Japan in some ways, because they lost so many people in the war. Of course, the nightmare afterward as well. There was, of course, how can I say this the best way to make sense? You have to understand the term baby boom. Of course, you hear a bunch of people like around my generation saying, okay, boomer, and stupid shit like that. There's a reason for that. The baby boom was a response to all the lives lost after the Second World War. What happens when people encroach on animals' territories? Simple. They drop them out of the normal hiding spots that they would be in, and they're many times forced out into the open, even if for a short period of time. I think that's what happened. Because, of course, during the 70s and all that good crap, you have the baby boomers growing up. And, of course, you have people naturally leading deforestation and all that stuff. I'm pretty sure there was a lot of stuff that happened in those mountains where people were going in there and, taking lumber, trees, things like that. And there's different things where they could hide. And naturally, again, they're forced out into the open. And naturally, more people are going to see them. It's really self-explanatory. However, what makes this thing so different than the regular Bigfoot or Yeti? Their size, man. They're small. Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm pretty sure if one of us people came up on one and tried to tangle with it, you'd be ripped into quivering little bits. I'm pretty sure, because hominoids are just naturally physically very strong. Most primates are stronger than people, pound for pound. Just something to think about. I'm actually going to do a video on that a little later to kind of explain why that is. Now, here's something else to think about. As a result of them being closed in, like, and literally, how can I say this? The Bigfoot you have over here, or the hominoids you have over here in this country that travel the waterways, massive territories. I have had one person tell me who claims to have seen a bunch of these creatures, even walked among them, that one Bigfoot troop, if they're healthy and they get, they have plenty of starting time, they can easily make 60 miles in a day. That right there should tell you something. So my point is, these things can travel, they have the luxury of being able to travel over here. And naturally, of course, more access to prey. Again, they can move. That's really the key point. They can move. They have the luxury of not having to settle down. Hell, there's even stories of dogmen doing the same damn thing. So naturally, we have more prey, we have more space, you have more size. You have the luxury of being able to grow, especially up north in Canada, Alaska, things like that. You have fewer people too. You have a lot more range. And again, more freedom. And of course, naturally, creatures that are cold, they're in colder environments tend to get larger to conserve body heat. But that's neither here nor there, because those mountains up there are pretty chilly. You'd wonder why. Again, space. These creatures are not really having the luxury of being able to move along the water. I mean, don't get me wrong, Japan does have waterways and everything else. They also have a very interesting layout. You have to understand, Japan is not really just one single landmass. It's a set of islands that are literally together that quite literally make up a country. That's the deal right there. So these creatures, I don't think, are going to have the luxury to literally move around. There's stuff like Chuck in that range. There might be some other variants of them throughout the country, throughout that, the islands and stuff that make Japan up. But I'm just saying, most creatures like this don't have the luxury of being able to really move. So they're literally adapting to what they've got. Now, I'm not sure if there's ever been any attacks. I'm pretty sure there have been close calls, just like anything else. But I just noticed that this creature seems to be mainly from what I'm figuring, they're like our Bigfoot over here. They want to be left alone, or the hominoids over here. Of course, the fur or the hair they have, black, brown, that's pretty common fare. To be honest, there ain't much difference than any other hominoid we got over here. But I've also noticed that a lot of the ones in Asia are smaller compared to the ones over here. And again, I think it has to do with space to a degree. Now, I'm not sure about the ones in China, because China is a good-sized country. But of course, again, you're balls to the wall people over there. So, and it's been that way for a long time. I'm just saying, even with the old dynasties, many times people would actually keep small animals as pets because that was just stacked on top of each other back then too. It ain't changed one bit. So naturally, I'm pretty sure, of course, with humans and stuff really encroaching into stuff over there, especially because, again, so many people, you have to stay hidden and you have to kind of stay small, is what I'm figuring. I could be wrong, but that's just my own figuring on things. Is like with the Aaron, the rock ape, these creatures are nowhere near the size of the monsters we have over here. And of course, the Hibagon is no exception to that rule. Maybe even more so, because again, they're literally in a nation that is a series again of islands that are isolated from a lot of the world. So you really have to take that into consideration. There's not really much more to say about this creature other than the fact it is very interesting, and of course, it is definitely part of Japanese folklore as well as naturally the cryptozoology field that they have over there. It's fascinating, and it's, like I said, it kind of came out of left field for what this creature, my knowledge of this kind of creature. I figured I would have learned about it a long time ago, is my point, so it was kind of an unexpected treat. But also you have to understand, I don't really know what we will see in the future when it comes to this creature, but I'm actually looking forward to wondering. I'm actually kind of wondering about this one. I have a feeling we might be seeing and finding out more about this thing than we realize. You guys know what I do. I'm the producer for Dark Waters Entertainment. If you've had a story, encounter, etc., hit me up at westvic@imdarkwaters.com. You guys be blessed and you be safe.